Yo, what's up everybody? I'm back today with a new video about these bad boys up here. The Boat Lighting Aura 19x15 wash moving heads. Now I bought these wash moving heads for a few specific reasons. One of them is for the size and the portability as a moving head. I think these pack the most punch. So usually when you buy a moving head to get a lot of output and a lot of brightness, I need to buy a really large or really expensive moving head in order to get a nice, strong effect. As a solo DJ, mainly doing my setups and breakdowns by myself, if I was going to invest in moving heads, I had to make sure that it had a small, compact footprint so that I could effectively set it up, break it down, transport it by myself. Obviously, there are a lot of better, more powerful moving heads out there, but as you get more powerful, the size also gets way bigger, the weight gets way bigger. The next reason I bought these was the price. They're priced really well, especially if you buy them direct from China. And as you know, I'm a big fan of Boat Lighting. I love their products. So I got these from Boat Lighting direct from China. And I really like the fact that these came in white direct from the factory. It helps when trying to do that whole white setup. Now you can find these lights, these 19x15 white wash lights made by a ton of different manufacturers. I've actually seen them on Amazon, I've seen them from other retailers as well, and you can get them at a really competitive price because so many manufacturers make them. But Boat Lighting are one of the only ones that I could find that actually made them in white. So I paid a little bit extra just because I really wanted them in white, but for two of these, I got them for around $700, which was a great price to me. Also, just purely from an effects standpoint, I really like how these can wash a room, or you can also focus them tighter and create more of a beam or more of a spotlight type of effect. Personally, I felt that for my first moving head, having one that can do a wash effect is probably the safest bet because it provides the biggest effect possible. Now that also leads me to the next reason I bought these, or so I thought. So I bought these in the hope that I'd be able to point these down towards the dance floor during that first dance, create a nice white spotlight. But unfortunately, as I'm gonna show later in the video, the way I have these set up on top of these poles, that's not gonna happen for me. Next up, I'm gonna go into an unboxing, show you guys how I mount these, how I plan on transporting them, and what I think overall. So this is the box that it comes in directly from China. I got two boxes like this, and let's get this box off and get to the next step. So first thing on top, we got the user manual, and now we got styrofoam, so I'll need two hands to get this thing out. All right, so this is what it looks like when it comes out of the package. You can see it's got this nice styrofoam block on either side. And then here on the bottom are where they have the cables and also the safety cords and clamps. So let's check those out next. So they do provide the safety cables, that's nice. And then these are the clamps that come with it to mount it on brackets or onto the poles. Interestingly, even though the light is in white, the clamps still come in black. And then here on this side, small DMX cable and then also a PowerCon charging cable. Now let's flip it over and get the light out. And here is the actual light itself. Let's get this plastic off. So shout out to Daryl Bennett and Rick Webb. I got this from them and how to attach this. I specifically picked these stands from ProX. I'll put the link because they come in white and I wanted my setup to look as white as possible. So you have to buy this, and then I also just got back from Home Depot and I bought this stuff. These are all just like, you know, regular screws and washers and some locking washers. I'm hoping to just, put this on, keep it on there so I don't have to assemble this every single time I get to a gig. The size of these screws is basically the M8 bolt or the 5x16. At my Home Depot, they had the 5x16, so I just got a few of those. And then these are the brackets that come with the light itself, so you don't have to buy those. So basically all you have to do is buy this, buy these, you have the light, and then the goal is, what's up everyone? The goal is to be able to mount it up like this. So you can see I've already got it up on top, and that's kind of how it looks when it's fully attached. I'm gonna replace these black bolts out. These are just some that I had at home to test it out. That's why I bought the silver ones, but yeah, let's get started. All right, so the first thing I have to do is attach these clamps onto the bottom of the light. So these you can actually do two ways. You can do it this way, like you can attach them like this, or you can also attach them like this. It's a square. I'm gonna try it this way because I think it'll just look a little bit cleaner, but it doesn't really matter. It's kind of up to you how you wanna do it. So you just twist these tabs. There we go. So that one's in. You'll hear a nice click when it's secured. Do the same thing on this side. So now these both are secured and that's not going anywhere. The light also does have a loop for the safety cable, so if you want extra safety, which I'd recommend, you can wrap a safety cable around this onto your pole. Now next, the thing we have to do is just attach this guy to the bottom of our light. The way we're gonna do that is I got a bunch of extra washers just for extra security. So I'm gonna put this in here. So I put a washer and then ran the bolt here. And now I'm gonna put my little adapter and just screw that in. And you can see it's right here on the inside. So there's just enough space for these screws based on the width of these brackets. So there we go. So now I got a nice tight fit. I can tighten it a little bit more with like a wrench like this. So one thing to be aware of here, just with the fit that I want to bring you guys a little bit closer and show you. So these metal tabs, these bronze looking tabs, they actually, you can see they come in contact here. It's just you know how it goes with this. So you know, like I said, I have these because they're white. You know, there are plenty of other types of attachments like this. You can try other ones. There is contact, but it's still pretty tight. It's nice and firm on this. So, you know, it's not something I'm too concerned about. Obviously, I'd like this to sit flat against these brackets. Just something for you guys to know about if you decide to go with these white Pro X stands. All right, so there we go. Now I'm ready to mount this thing up here, and you'll get an idea and be able to see how easy it is once this thing's already attached. As you can see though, it is a process to get that thing on there. So I really want to be able to transport this light with this thing attached. You know, otherwise this is going to become a long process. It's going to be really annoying to put these on and off. All right, so I just lift it up, and then I can just put it up top here. There we go. And so it's sitting up there, nice and flat. All right, so here you go. You got both of the lights up there. We got the brackets on. Let me also show you guys real quick how I've got the wash effects mounted up on here. So I bought these silver clamps off of Amazon, and they just have like an M10 screw here. You can screw on any type of light. It doesn't have to be a wash effects. They also leave enough space on my flex stand for this bracket to sit on top comfortably and move around and stuff. Now the other big thing, and that can be really annoying about stands and just, you know, our setup and breakdown in general, is power. And that's actually one of the reasons I didn't buy these moving heads all the way until now. I was waiting and hoping that eventually a battery powered version of these moving heads would come out, because imagine how much easier it would be if you could just battery power wireless DMX, just stick this thing on top, and then you're good to go. You don't have to worry about the power or anything like that. But since I had my wash effects and I was powering them anyways, I remembered that the back of my wash effects has a power out. Most lights do have something like this. So basically all I'm doing now is running the power out from that wash effects and then into my moving head. And it just requires one small extra cable. In events where I'm not using my wash effects, I probably won't use the moving heads alone, but in really big venues, you know, in bigger events, bigger crowds, I was using the wash effects anyways, you know, so I was already doing all the work, running this power cable, you know, down up here into the wash effects. So I was like, okay, well, if I got the moving heads to use in that kind of a scenario, it wouldn't be that annoying to do every single time. So that's how I kind of justified buying the moving heads. For smaller events, you know, I don't have to use this entire powered lighting rig. I can just put up a lighting tree and some IR4s or some bigger uplights. And that's way easier because it's all battery powered. So yeah, of course, the battery powered moving heads would be so much easier. But since I was running the wash effects a lot anyways, I figured, hey, I'm already doing the power for that. So all it takes is just one small extra power cable. And then now I can power both the moving head and the wash effects. All right, so I'm gonna put the lights into a dance floor auto loop now so you could see what it looks like. And there we go, it's on an auto loop. There is gonna be some wobble, and like I said, I mean, right now I don't have them to their highest setting. They're still pretty high. I mean, I'm 6 feet tall, and you know, these things are probably still like 2 feet in the air above me. But the point is that there is gonna be some wobbling going on here. But the flex stands are pretty stable. And the other key is don't make your lights go like, you know, crazy. Like if they're in auto mode, they're gonna be going like spinning around 360, whatever, going crazy. Have them a little bit more subtle. You'll get less wobble that way. But I'm sure you can notice it, especially when the lights are making those fast movements. You get some wobble and then it steadies pretty quickly. So right now, both the lights are in auto mode. And so this is kind of how much you can expect there to be wobble. Let me get a little bit closer. So when the lights are going kind of crazy up top, this is kind of the amount of wobble you can expect. Now also remember, because I have the ceiling here, they're not at their highest setting. I could probably still lift these up about 1.5 feet or 2 feet or so. And so obviously that'll also introduce some more wobble. But yeah, hopefully this gives you an idea that there is going to be a little bit of wobble. But honestly, it's not too bad, especially because this is the most that the lights would be moving around and spinning around. So yeah, hopefully this gives you guys a little bit of an idea of how they work. Now this was a bag I happen to have at home. I mean, I used to use this for my Wash FX2s. But basically this is an Ariba bag. This model number is the AC412, but you know, they don't make it anymore, unfortunately. But if you want to find a similar bag, all you need to do is find one of the dimensions. It's 12.5 by 12.5 by 22.5. And I found that that can actually fit this light inside of it with this entire length. You know, I'm sure Chauvet, Rockville, they make bags just like this that you could use instead of this one. You know, they just don't make this exact one anymore. But let me show you how this might fit inside this bag. So one way to do it is you can just lay the light flat, you know, and it fits completely inside here. And there we go, just like that. You know, you could just transport the light just like this. One light in each, but there's a lot of extra space, especially vertically. So what I think I'm going to do is actually put the light standing up like this, and I'm going to actually put the second light here as well. All these types of bags, I mean, they come with these dividers, so I'm just going to put the dividers here. And now here's my second light. So just for demonstration purposes, I mean, I haven't attached that pole on the bottom, but you can imagine that if it were there, it would still be able to fit in here. And there we go. Now I got both of the lights in one bag. Let's just make sure it shuts. And there we go. I mean, this is a totally snug fit. This does get a bit heavy, you know, with the two lights inside. But you know, it saves a lot of space versus having two separate bags for each of these lights. And like I said before, the best part is it fits in with that pole already attached as well. But again, like I said, it's 12.5 by 12.5 by 22.5. That's the length that you need to fit these lights comfortably. Now this is my first time buying moving heads, and next I'm going to go into why specifically buying these moving heads kind of became a big fail for me. So in addition to using these as dance floor lighting, my vision was that I'd be able to point these down onto the dance floor, say during the first dance or during some dance performances, and provide kind of a spotlight or some kind of a stage lighting to add to the effects, to add to the mood. What I didn't take into account though was that when these lights are standing up like this, you know, up on their base, how much tilt they'd be able to have. Now some of you may be wondering, and I specifically didn't get some of the smaller spot moving heads because the light that they project and how wide it gets on the dance floor, it didn't cover the bride and the groom enough based on other videos and other experiences that I had. With this though, I could control how wide the beam was or how tight I could get it. So I was hoping that I'd be able to use this as a spotlight. But man, that limitation in how much these can tilt downwards really was a party pooper for me. Now I haven't tested them at a venue yet, but let me show you guys here in this room and you can get an idea why it probably won't work. All right, so now I'm controlling the lights on sound switch so you can kind of see how far down it can go. So I'm gonna put them straight forward and now I'm gonna tilt them down as far as they can go. And you can see that that's about it. So let me get up and show you guys how far this is. So that's about it as far as these can tilt down. And this is how it looks on the wall. You can see that it's going basically straight towards the wall. So if you imagine, like if you have a crowd out there and you're trying to point this down to the dance floor, literally all this is gonna do is gonna go straight into the eyes of the crowd. Now I'm gonna tighten the beam next and just show you how it looks when the beam's tightened and kind of how low it goes on the wall. So here we go, I'm gonna focus the beam. And let me show you what it looks like on the other side. So here you go, this is the most focused the beam can go and the lowest tilt that these lights can throw. And if you can imagine, right, if there's a crowd out there and you have a dance floor, this light is not going onto the dance floor. It's going straight into the eyes of the people that are sitting there or just past the dance floor. Like if these would be able to tilt down further, I could actually imagine it hitting the dance floor at an event, but this is just gonna go way past the dance floor. Even if I expand, so let's see, like if I expand the focus a bit, you can see the beam's getting bigger, But again, it's still gonna go straight into the eyes of the guests. Yeah, hopefully this gives you guys an idea how far down these things can tilt in case anyone else is thinking about using these as like a dance floor spotlight or something like that. Aside from that specific issue that I have with the tilt, I mean, look at these, man. These are really, really nice. They create a really good effect. Right now I have it in an auto loop. Let me just go through some other auto loops here. And they just synced up so easily with my sound switch. So I'm really happy with them sort of as a dance floor light. But yeah, if you're thinking about using these like a spotlight like I did, that's where you might run into some issues. So hopefully that video and summary was helpful for anyone interested in considering these lights. Again, for being a moving head, at the footprint and weight that these come in, the portability and the overall capability, being able to wash a room or tighten that beam, I think these are a great bang for the buck. Again, I got them directly from Boat Lighting in China for around $700 when I shot this video. Unfortunately though, if you're like me and was hoping to use these as spotlights, having them mounted straight up and pointing down at the dance floor, these just don't have enough of a tilt to be able to point down far enough to go to the dance floor. Now, I had done so much research, I'd watched so many videos about these types of lights on YouTube. None of them mentioned that fact or talked about, using these as a spotlight. So I'm hopeful that by me talking about it in this video, if anyone else had this thought in mind or wanted to use these as a spotlight, just know that these probably won't work for that. Now you can always mount them upside down and then you can get a full range of pan and tilt, and point it wherever you want. But for those of us just putting one on top of a totem or one on top of a flex stand like this, hopefully this video can serve as a heads up to anybody. And again, the reason I didn't go with the other Boat Lighting MH150 option was because that spotlight just doesn't get wide enough to cover the couple or the performers. For that, I need a much bigger, a much powerful moving head, and then it gets hard for me to carry, to transport, to be portable. So I'm still looking. If you guys know of any easy to transport moving heads that can still do a nice spotlight effect, a nice big one on the dance floor, let me know in the comments below. Overall, they're a great bang for the buck. They do a great effect. I just had a bit of a fail with them because I was expecting to use them as a spotlight, but unfortunately that's just not going to be the case. And that's the other thing to keep in mind. When you buy direct from China, you also can't return items. So yeah, hopefully this video helps anyone else out there who doesn't know that much about moving heads like I did. Leave any questions or comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.